What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's T Swifty. Here we're going to go over the layout for RMPL Event 1. We have some pictures, some video. We're going to do a virtual walkthrough and kind of talk over what I think is the best way to play this field and how you can get the win. Alright, so here we're going to walk the snake side of the layout. And from my perspective, what I'm looking for first is, where are my breakout lanes going to be? How far do I need to be back? What route do I need to take? What lanes are going to be most vulnerable, both from me running into the snake and me as the shooter trying to eliminate the snake player? So obviously on this layout, there's some really big lanes. That gap you have to get through to get into the snake is a huge, huge gap. So from my perspective, just right off the bat, I'm looking at maybe going to the God, or maybe taking a deeper route, staying farther back to avoid the paint coming in. Alright, so what we're looking at here is the two most likely lanes for the opposite team shooting at the snake player. So the first lane over on the left, between your God bunker, that little mini temple, and the stand-up wedge, the snake 1 bunker, is a pretty big gap, and it's a pretty easy shot for anybody trying to eliminate the snake player, which is a huge priority. If you can get a kill on their first attacker on their snake side right off the bat, that puts the other team at a huge disadvantage. So that's your most likely lane you're going to see people shooting. The other one, and it's a pretty good shot, is actually a blind shot over that stand-up wedge on the left side, in between your start box, that stand-up can, and the mini temple. Right there is a huge, huge shot. If you can make it, you can get both snake players potentially off the break, which would be huge. If you can start out with a two-person advantage, that's a huge advantage for you. Alright, so here we just have a view a little bit more from the snake side, and as you can see, looking from the back, the right of this picture to the left side of the picture, the opposite side, you can see how big those gaps are. It's not a huge long run, but the run you have to make to get into the snake is a run through some pretty intense lanes. So honestly, the thing that we worked with Vital Instinct this weekend and Entourage this weekend, both out at Dynamic, we saw that you had a much better chance of getting in alive if you went to that stand-up wedge, which we didn't have at Dynamic. They substituted a can for it, which worked just fine, and that mini temple. So what we ended up doing, we practiced out a couple different breaks. One of the main ones that worked most often was sending one player out gunning to that stand-up wedge, and then one guy just sliding in straight off the break. It's about 3 steps in a slide, head first into that mini temple, and he made it in pretty easily, pretty consistently. The other way we went in, we had a guy out to the corner, just running and gunning straight out to the snake corner, and then the front attacker on the snake side going into that mini temple and then working his way into the snake that way, which also both guys made it in alive pretty consistently. And if you're running out to that corner, taking a deeper route, staying farther back, you're going to be able to dodge those lanes that are coming in, because those lanes are going to be coming in a little bit shorter, trying to shoot the guy diving into the snake. Alright, so let's talk about the Doritos side. My favorite side, because I play the front attacker or the number 2 on the Doritos side most often. A lot more makeable. Still some pretty good shots on the break. If you're facing a team that's got decent guns, you're going to want to vary your routes in. I mean, that's just a good practice to get into anyway. You never want to have just one way to get in. If you're only taking one route, it's pretty easy for a team to adjust to that and start shooting you out, and then you become a liability. So obviously the Doritos side on this layout is pretty friendly to the first attacker. I mean, once you get into Dorito 1 and you look across field, get that kill on the snake side, and then check your mirror, if you've either eliminated your mirror or he's staying put and you have a guy watching over you, you can pretty much wrap and go all the way to the 50. And there's some really great cross shots. The one thing I will say is you got to play these Doritos tight, because the cross shots work both ways. So if their snake guy looks across and sees you standing up and kind of peacocking a little bit, he's going to be able to just tear your head off. So you've got to be smart with your routes. You also have to play those Doritos tight and don't get too loose with them. All right, and here we have kind of a general couple lanes that guys are going to be shooting off the break. Obviously, like I said, the Doritos side, you have more bunkers to block you out, so you have a better route to get in alive. The one that I noticed, the inside one on this, as you're looking at the picture, the one on the left, is the one of the most consistent lanes. I was able to get kills, at least 2 out of 3 points, shooting that off the break if I wasn't going straight for the Doritos. So a good way to get around this is, again, to take that deeper route. Stay deep and come around if you're going in the Doritos. Another thing that you may want to consider if you're a front attacker on the Dorito side is going all the way to Dorito 2 right off the break, or Dorito 3. Just remembering to vary those routes. If you're not changing your routes, they're going to adjust their shots. They're going to start getting you out. Another way into the Doritos that we worked pretty successfully is, instead of going straight into the Doritos, going to the stand-up temple, the tall temple, and then breaking out into the Doritos from there. It's a pretty easy route to get into that temple. You just have to get quick right off the break, get in there. You shoot a lane inside, or check your mirror and see if there's another guy in that other temple, and then work your way out into the Doritos, and you're off to the races. If you can get a kill on their Dorito side player, or if they're not paying attention to the Dorito side, you can just wrap and go and start shooting in the pack. Sorry, shooting guys in the back. Alright, the other lane that you're seeing here, the one on the right, is a really great control lane. If you get a guy in, we are using our number 2 on the D side, or even your home player, to control that lane. You're basically giving them Dorito 1 off the break, but on the flip side of that, you're able to lock them down and keep them from advancing any further. And a great part of that is you can advance them, because there's not a real great cross shot from D1 into the snake, but if he goes past snake 1, there is some good shots. So it's pretty beneficial to hold that lane and keep those Dorito players back, because like I said, this Dorito side is so easy to get lost in that if you're not paying attention to it, if you don't have at least one gun pointed that way, you're going to lose the point more often than not. Alright, so this is the walkthrough from the center. The middle of this field is not very easy to get through. It's pretty open. It was just one of the things I like. This is a very old school layout where you have a very open middle. You do have some big bunkers in the middle that if you can get to, you can really create some havoc. But it's not a center that you can move through pretty easily. One of the things we were doing, instead of sending our 3 through the center or sending our 2 on one of the other sides through the center, we were pumping that extra guy through the Dorito side. This layout, I think, is very Dorito strong. The snake it's a good snake as well, especially with that mini brick, or that brick in the middle at the 50 for the snake. But it's a heads-up snake. Both the corners can peel you off if you're not playing it tight, and there's a lot of cross shots that are going to keep you staying pretty low. So we were pumping 3 dudes to the Doritos side. The middle, not a lot there to help you unless you can stay low and get to that 50. Alright folks, so we've kind of gone over all the 3 sides and how I'm looking at the field when I walk through it. You'll see a lot of younger players, newer players to the game. The first thing they do when they walk the field is they get into a bunker and they play pretend shoot at their mirror and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's not a good idea to get into a bunker and look at what shots you have and what shots are easy to get on you, but overall, the best thing you can do for yourself as a player is just slowly walk the field, and as you're walking it, walk it side by side and then the center, kind of like how we broke up the video, and just make mental notes of stuff. Think about, okay, if I'm the snake player and I get to this bunker, see where my areas of vulnerability are. The first thing I want to know is where I'm most vulnerable going to whatever bunkers I'm going to go to. So as I'm walking the field, I'm looking for those angles at me first and then looking at what shots I have on other people. The first thing I want to know is how do I stay alive? Because in paintball, like in many different games, the best ability is survivability. You know, if you're not out there, if you've been shot out, you're not any good to your team. So find out what spots I can make alive, find out where I'm most vulnerable so that I can negate that, and then get into some bunkers and start to look at, situationally, if I've got a guy in this bunker, okay, I've got a shot. If I've got a guy in that bunker, okay, I've got a shot. But first thing I want to know is who has a shot on me. So we've kind of covered everything I wanted to cover. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave comments. Let me know what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you'd like to see next. I'm always down to do a breakdown of any layout. So if you guys want to send me some layouts on the comment section or on Facebook or Instagram, my accounts are linked in my about section. Just shoot me a message, let me know, and I'll be happy to break it down for you. Hope you guys are having a great day, and hope you guys are getting ready for another great weekend of practice, whether you're practicing or playing an event. Hope you guys do well, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.